This episode is brought to you by Vidya AI.
In a nutshell, I guess I try to help my students figure out what being capable
becomes at least a senior fellow.
So not necessarily AI replacing humans.
Well, teaching our students to make better prompts,
And it does make mistakes.
coming up with novel assessments, authentic assessments.
Are you going to scratch the traditional assessment entirely?
I think I feel that exams like that are really.
Hello, and welcome back to Dare to Disrupt, a podcast where we unpack the biggest shifts in AI and education technology, one conversation at a time. Joining me today is Andy and Faiza. They will be helping us unpacking some of the questions that you audience might have, and they will be deep diving into various topics today. I've been looking forward to having this conversation with these experts today. Thank you for joining us, Andy and Faiza.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
To help us start this conversation, I would like our audience to be able to understand who are the people that are actually on the podcast today. So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in the education space, that would be really helpful. I'll start from you, Andy.
Sure. Okay, my name's Andy Pacino. I'm academic director at ELT Central. My real passion, though, is writing, and so I spend as much time on that as I can. I've got a new book coming out next month or so I'm really excited about that. But as far as education goes, for the past couple of decades, I've been working as a lecturer, academic director, and a language teacher. I've been teaching and learning coordinator at a university here. I've worked with a number of universities in the UK, Spain, Malaysia, and I've taught critical thinking, academic writing, and career guidance, as well as educational philosophy and leadership at a master's level. My focus in the ed field has been trying to help students become the most capable learners that they can, not just knowledgeable, but also adaptable, curious, and be able to think for themselves. So not just to parrot things that their teachers tell them or their elders tell them. So. In a nutshell, I guess I try to help my students figure out what being capable is, what it looks like in a rapidly changing world.
So my name is Faiza. I've been working with a university here in the UAE for almost 10 years now. I had the Masters of Education program and portfolio. I also chair the Learning and Teaching Committee. I chair my university's Learning and Teaching Conference. Last year, we actually had a conference on the changing landscape in the world of AI, of learning, teaching, and assessment in higher education. This year, it's all been about transnational quality. So I have been closely involved with working around how to support students and our staff in their capability and development, with their professional development, with AI capability for the students. And so it's all about education, learning, and teaching for me in the higher education space, especially in the transnational sector.
There's something you didn't mention, principal fellow.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because that's something I'm actually aspiring as well. As a senior fellow, I'm looking forward to achieving that. And probably I'm just going to be taking some tips from.
Well, absolutely. We'd love to help you. So I became a principal fellow early this year. I've been a senior fellow for a number of years. I've also got my associate fellowship long before that. So we take our staff through fellowship development as well. So I'm very closely involved in that work, chairing the Learning and Teaching Committee of the campus. So my aim has been that every manager of a department becomes at least a senior fellow.
So let's just deep dive into the questions. So what we do on this podcast, episode by episode, is that we sometimes ask the previous guest to ask a question, and the previous guest asked us a question. They dropped the question last time, and they said, if you were to start a university from scratch, knowing what we know today in terms of future skills, AI, and the type of students that we have these days, And I think by type of student, what they were referring to is probably Gen Z.
Yeah.
And what would you do different, and what would that university look like?
It's a good question. Ideally, for me, it would be free, but there's not much chance of that. So some of the key elements would include human and AI integration. So it'd be sort of a hybrid model, but so not necessarily AI replacing humans. The focus, going back to what I mentioned before, it would be on capabilities. There should be a focus on lifelong learning. To achieve that, I think you'd have to introduce a curriculum with a strong focus on critical thinking and ethical judgment, and sort of a real-world application and collaboration. So the subjects would be designed around capabilities. The core would be a sort of a learning to learn spine that runs through all the programs. That means teaching students how to think critically, how to research and evaluate evidence, including what AI gives you. Should know how to collaborate across cultures. I don't only mean sort of, different nationality cultures, but sort of, the business culture, office culture, that kind of thing, workplace culture. And be able to manage their own learning, essentially. So I think AI needs to be embedded as a tool so that students can learn how to prompt it, how to critique its responses, and how to boost their own learning rather than replace it with AI. Getting a bit disruptive here. Instead of traditional facilities, I'd like to have a sort of interdisciplinary kind of challenge lab where students work on real problems, like a health, education, business, that sort of thing, and using AI as a collaborator. So you'd have small groups, debate groups, a lot of project work, mentoring going on there. And I think, that AI hasn't quite got there yet, so that's where the human element would come in.
I've heard a lot about learning to learn and all of that, but in practice, so for students, let's dissect it. Learning to learn. What does it mean exactly?
It's a good one. That I think it's asking the right questions, probing in the right areas, and having an understanding of critiquing information you get, researching, knowing where to research, how to research, that kind of thing.
Right. Excellent. Thank you.
I would have an entire overhaul of the assessment system. I would begin with that. And coincidentally, Andy and I have actually published a book chapter on introducing the redefinition stage of the SAMA model and using AI collaboratively to learn and teach in the classroom. So our study was around students indulging or using AI for an academic integrity cases coming up. And so we did an experiment where Andy pretended to be a student and co-authored a book with AI, and that book's published actually. It's on Amazon. So what we were trying to get at is if you apply the redefinition stage and you work collaboratively in brainstorming with AI, co-authoring with it, challenging it, editing the work that AI produces, you actually can support your students to write better, and instead of making AI write for you. So I think that's at the heart of it for me when it comes to assessment, because it's up to the academics like us and the lecturers to invest some time and capability in reworking the assessment design, and taking on the onus of that work rather than stopping the students from using AI. It's about asking them to use AI as one of their group members for example, or critiquing AI's work, that's where, that can be practically translated into how we can involve AI in the kind of work we're doing rather than stopping them from the usage, because that opens up the door to more academic integrity issues, I feel.
I think also, sorry to interrupt, understanding that AI doesn't always get it right makes it, especially because it's still kind of in its infancy, and it does make mistakes. And it wasn't until I sort of really looked into it and started to understand it. I was using ChatGPT at the time. The way it thinks, how it works on sort of 2 questions prior. So if you ask it 3 questions, it only remembers, or a response to the 3 questions, it will forget the first one. And so then if you ask it the 4th, it will forget the first and the second. And it was a bit of a nightmare, actually, working with.
Hallucinations would stop, it would get better, the LLMs would improve, but
And I'd be like, refer back to what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Well, it apologizes as well, and that can get.
Well, teaching our students to make better prompts, be able to figure out when it's not going right, learning with it and using it as a tool effectively is what we should be doing and preempting. But I think rather than, I don't think that if we do not allow students to use it, they will find a way, essentially. So integrating it is the best way forward, and taking it on board. I feel that's at the heart of it. And assessments are one way, and coming up with novel assessments, authentic assessments, project-based work, integrating it with their graduate outcomes, the kind of work that they should be doing in the classroom, and being very interdisciplinary, right? Yeah, I mean, that's where they're headed, and the more AI becomes capable to do, basic or even jobs better than us, essentially. So how is this world going to look in which they are going to be hired? And working with AI to make them prepare them for that is, I think, that's a challenge for higher education sector right now. And I know people talk about micro-credentials and stacking that and, this kind of collaborative work, but you asked a really good question about making it practical, and I think that's the way integration is the way forward. The teacher becoming a facilitator around that.
When you mentioned about assessments and redesigning an assessment and all of that, are you going to scratch the traditional assessment entirely, or add some layers, or hybrid, so to speak, or you might want to? I think there's authentic assessments and all of that. So do you intend to remove
Yeah. Well, I'm not for exam closed book examinations. That's left up way far behind. It's not a test about memory anymore. Nobody needs to remember. I mean, coming over here today, I was like, I've got my notes because I don't need to remember this. Yes. Yeah. So that's not how you operate in the real world, right? So I'm all for authentic assessments, and that's been on for a long time. But then integrating it with, like we did with Samar, in using AI. So not scrapping traditional assessments, but face-to-face assessments, memory-based, I think I'm not for that, yeah. So application is where it should be, right? So coming up with novel projects, industry-focused projects, aligning it and closing that gap with industry and education, and making them work with AI to come up with better solutions is what we should be headed towards.
I think it is interesting you said that, but I've heard some other people saying, physical examination, like traditionally, is the only way to, mitigate the, misuse of AI and all of that, because they're going to be doing it right in front of you and you can see what they are doing and all of that. So people are leaning towards the traditional exam, closed book, do it physically, let's see what you can do and all of that.
I think I feel that exams like that are really unfair. You can go into an exam and forget some things that you know, and you walk out of it exactly the same person as you walked in, with no more knowledge, no less knowledge, and yet the exam might fail you. You might get a poor grade. So I think if we move into something that's more formative, it's much more labour intensive, of course it is, and so the business of education wouldn't like that. But I think if you want to serve your customer the best you can do, the best you can serve them, then I think we have to go to formative. If there's an element of an exam there, an oral, I don't know, chat or presentation or something like that, with the board, then that's one way. But I hate exams.
Should that be within university context only, or should we start to look from K-12 in terms of the requirements to gain admission into higher education?
I think that we focus too much on university rather than vocational skills. I've come across dozens and dozens of students that shouldn't be in university. They don't want to be in university. They want to learn a skill and a trade. And
Staying there.
it's true, yeah. And so, and again, it's a business, and I've brought this up a number of times, and well, we need bums on seats. And so they don't want to discourage a student whose parents are pressuring them into this university.
But if I can answer to your question, I don't think it starts in K to 12. You do need a level of knowledge, understanding, critical thinking, and for that, of course, it has to be memory based as well. So I wouldn't say it will start as early as K to 12. Perhaps in the say when they come into the higher classes around grade 11, grade 12, that's different, because then you are preparing them for university. Like at university, we're preparing them for their careers. At that point, integration of AI at this level I feel that's where we should be headed. Before that, of course, you would have closed book examinations. You will have formative and summative. That's fine. But more practical, industry focused, so that we can close that gap, should be where we should be focusing, at least in higher education. Because in real life, when is it that you're going to have a closed book exam in your workplace? When are you going to allow you apply that knowledge? Yeah.
And someone was saying that my math teacher, they mentioned it was like a meme, online, that my math teacher kept saying I should find X. I still can't find X in my workplace.
Yeah. And I think what you see more in the workplace is how collaboratively people can work, how good they are at communication, what are their critical thinking skills like, how quickly can they think on their feet, how can they adapt, and that kind of agility in working day to day. And AI is one of the tools that they have now, so I mean, it's made our lives easier, hasn't it, as educators? Very fast, we can do a lot more. Yeah. Yeah. So
And you mentioned about publishing book together, but one of your
book, it was a book chapter.
It was a book chapter. Okay,
Yeah.
So there was one of your book chapter that I read as well. I think that was with Eugene. Yeah. And it was around spotlight on emerging AI trends in international university in the UAE.
So Spotlight was in the UAE. So it was a whole handbook on artificial intelligence. Yeah, and my chapter was the last one in the book. So I did bring my notes for this because I've been thinking about that book chapter when you talked about it recently. And so I did actually write you a synopsis about what that book is all about. But definitely the UAE is... so I'll read it to you. So when I describe the UAE as building an AI ecosystem rather than simply adopting AI, I mean that it's investing across every layer simultaneously. There's a national strategy providing direction, dedicated government, ministries coordinating implementation, university talent and research. So I think there are about 21, if not more, universities now that have AI programs running in the UAE. It obviously had the world's first university dedicated to AI research, Mohammed bin Zayed University of AI. The first AI, I've got a list of things that AI does.
They've got the first minister of AI.
They have the Ministry of AI. So the World Government Summit was here. AI Everything Summit was the first AI summit in the world to happen, and that was, I think, back in 2019 in the UAE. So they have MBZ UAI. Yeah, that's the first university. AI, yeah. And it's just the ethics and the governance around it. UAE AI Ethics Advisory Board, they are in the Ministry of AI, as you said. So the leadership actually has created this ecosystem that's really supportive of nurturing that talent in providing that higher education kind of setup for research. It's attracting talent. Obviously, it's got innovation hubs like Dubai Future Foundation, and they're connecting it with industry, with higher education. National Program for AI Building Research Capability. So it's this kind of partnerships with the industry, with higher education, trying to improve our daily lives with the economic setup. So I feel that's the kind of ecosystem that UAE is building, and they're really headed towards becoming the number one around it, So yeah.
I think what you're trying, I mean, what I understood is that it cuts across sectors,
Exactly.
not just focusing on.
No,
We've seen countries doing excellently, amazing in terms of AI in education, or how they are using it education wise and all of that, especially in Europe, Scandinavian countries. Mostly, I've seen they're doing fantastic work in terms of use of AI in education, and how they've, is it in Finland, or I can't remember, recently scrapped AI from their K-12, like primary. Norway, yeah, thank you. It's Norway. And they are doing amazing work in terms of the use of AI in education. But what UAE does separately is it cuts across sectors,
yeah.
all sectors and all of that. And the firm as well, the AI in it.
Education program.
Is it AI in Education Forum?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're part of that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the advisory board members. Thank you for all you
All
do.
of this will help you with your PFH, yeah, right?
Yeah. Thank you. I'll come specially for my tips for my
Sure.
PH. Yeah. Thank you. But what in terms of I know you've mentioned in terms of how it cuts across all of the sectors and everything, and I know that your area of one of the area you're passionate about is transnational education. you know, does that role has anything to play in the UAE trajectory of the use of AI and all of that?
Absolutely. So if transnational moves beyond its traditional role, I think it already is fulfilling a role there. But if it's not only about imported degrees, for example. The greatest strength that TNE has is it connects their global academic excellence of these universities with the local national priorities anywhere, right? So when these international universities, they bring their research culture, they bring their international faculty, they bring their quality assurance systems, they bring their extensive global industry partnerships. And with all of those networks, then the offshore campus and the location, they have the opportunity to harness these strengths. And a lot, with the UAE's AI agenda, that aligns really well because all universities are right now trying to grapple with this and trying to improve their processes and their policies and their research around AI. So it's something UAE, being one of the world's largest hubs in TNE, can really capitalize on this, and they already are. So like I said, there are local and international universities, I think 21 or more, that are offering AI programs here now. So so rather than just replicating these programs, TNE can what can happen is designing of curricula. So, and then aligning that with the regional challenges, research priorities around AI, what the industry requires, what are the economic priorities of the UAE as well. So all of that alignment with all of this transnational universities from across the world that we have here, that's very uniquely TNE is in a unique position to support this kind of AI innovation ecosystem that the UAE has. So it brings a lot of academic benefit, but I think more than that, it brings the research benefit that,
And it reminds me of the events we attended. It was online, our Qureshi events, and
Oh, yeah.
the question was posed about, what we did look like in 2030.
Yeah, I think 2030.
Yeah, and if we start to integrate AI in all of these sectors, and we're doing it ethically, responsibly, and considering all of those ethical factors as well.
That's right.
So yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, the UAE is doing a lot in terms of different sectors.
Well, the UAE National Artificial Intelligence Strategy 2031 is that the UAE positions itself as a global AI leader by 2031. So I think that's where, it's not far away.
How can I be part of this?
We already are.
We are, exactly. Yeah, we are having the discussion, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Personally, for me, I'm very, very passionate about student experience, and that's why, I raised my brows when you mentioned graduate outcomes, because I'm very, very integrated in how we're supporting students, how we're ensuring that we're bringing them into conversations and all of that, and not just planning for them. Gone are the days when we have to, plan education when students have to always be on the receiving end. I feel like they should be part of the planning stage as well. And I know that you are also, passionate about something similar, and your mantra is to make students the most capable learners. With AI now and all of that is going on in education and everything, what would a capable learner look like?
That's a good question. I think they need to be able to evaluate and synthesize what AI returns to them, using critical thinking skills to spot any bias that there might be, understanding or seeing where, as Faiza mentioned earlier, the AI hallucinating, or where there needs to be deeper reasoning. I think they should be able to apply knowledge creatively in new contexts, be able to make ethical, value-based judgments on what should be done with information. They should keep learning along with the development of AI tools. And that's constant at the moment. AI gives us speed, it gives us scale. But what it doesn't give us is necessarily the wisdom, originality, or perhaps moral clarity. So being capable is about developing metacognition, thinking how to think, thinking about your own thinking. So I think they should use AI more as a partner than an oracle.
You've published many books. Yeah.
17, I think.
And I know that, being able to be like a writer on your level, it requires some level of creativity, isn't it? And I feel like creativity is being washed away these days with the, introduction of AI in education. And people students, let me say, can't really sit. The attention span is not even there anyways. So they can't really sit and write and all of that. How much do you think creativity is very important? I know you've mentioned critical thinking, creativity as well. Do you think how it's as much as important as critical thinking?
Well, for me, it's huge. Being able to create, to think creatively and critically is huge. This is how entrepreneurs are born. This is where advancements in technology start. With creativity, it's having an idea, and bringing that idea to fruition. It's huge, very, very important.
I think it's what youngsters call being locked in. They lose, focus. and to be an author or to be able to write books, you got to really be able to concentrate, which we don't have. And this disruption
I think as well, because we live in an extremely quick, instant gratification society now. I like to think that I look at things, but I'll give something a second and flick through it. If that second doesn't grab me, it's lost me. So I think that the students want that as well. And I think how many students read books now? One of the last classes I had, I said, "Who's read a book?" I read one once. It's and what you can get from books, whether it's I think more people read self-fulfillment or how to be a better person or how to
The non-fiction one,
it's non-fiction, definitely professional development sort of books than
Personal development.
personal development and professional development, like the Simon Sinek and Jordan Peterson and the rest of them. That I think it's very worthwhile. It's absolutely worthwhile, growing as a person. But also, I think creativity is seriously important, especially as I'm a writer. And it's not only with books either. It's with poems and songs. What you can do with poetry is amazing. It's a brilliant form. But I don't know. It's kind of lost.
Let's try to grab it before we lose it finally.
But I going back to what you were saying earlier and connecting to your question, I think connecting that to the student. What kind of student do we want? Critical thinker, creative person, whatever, but ethical person as well, so that they know that they don't pass off AI's work as their own. So all of that understanding and building of ethics is just as important with all this tech that they have and on their fingertips. So I think
Someone said attention is the new oil. because
Try mining that.
expensive.
because honestly, even me, it's very easy to speak about student, but even me sometimes, just to sit and work on my research, sometimes I just get distracted. There's a lot of distraction going on, notification palm here and there and all of that, and social medias and everything.
But would you say that platforms of research output are changing? Like a podcast like yours is something that is what the current generation's more aligned with when it comes to disruptive topics like these, rather than sitting and reading a journal article. Don't you think that people take the information in different ways now and want to provide their research on different platforms?
Exactly. I've heard people saying that it's very easy to consume knowledge while you're still at the gym, while you're still being gym bro,
Exactly.
and you can still and you don't have to be fixed somewhere.
The accessibility is changing.
Exactly, accessibility
So
is changing.
this is the kind of platform where people are turning to for. I listen to educational podcasts. So does everybody want to now read something, or people they want to provide it in a different way? So that's I think we're changing how we produce knowledge.
Maybe I should do all of my books in audio now.
Well, there's an audience for it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And what do you think about ebooks and physical books?
I think that's a question for it.
Yeah, because it just came to my mind now, because I've seen where personally I prefer to have that textbook right in front of me, but in our university we've got millions of e-resources for students, millions, and then
I think they're as important as each other, to be honest with you. Ebook, I make more money in an ebook than I do a physical book, so I prefer people buy my books on a platform. But myself, I like the physical thing of turning a page. The trouble with that is I don't like letting books go either. I don't like giving them to other people. And so I've still got books from when I finished university in 1998 in a box in my attic in the UK. I can't.
We're digital migrants, aren't we? That's why we want that iPad and the Apple Pencil. But I think that will maybe slowly fizzle out.
I think it will do. But then again, if you look at traditional music, if you look at vinyl, it's coming back now. I was so pleased. I walked past Virgin Records and there was a young kid. She was looking through the albums like I used to, when I was 14, 15 years old. I thought, God, that is so cool.
Yeah, so it's retro. It's trendy, but it's not. Doesn't mean it's main.
No, of course not. But some people are getting it. So I like
everything is just changing rapidly. We had an event and then we gave students flash drive as souvenirs. And I'm not even exaggerating, more than 70% of them what is this? What is this for? I'm like, USB flash drive.
Yeah.
And I could remember using floppy disk.
Well, that says a lot about our age group here.
Exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Yeah, how things change really, really fast. Honestly. And yeah. Andy, I know you've led, projects across, multicultural terrain, and from Middle East to Far East to UK to Europe and all of that. But I know that one particular issues about for students especially is employability. And with your knowledge and your leadership in this perspective, how would you say, what should university be doing differently to prepare graduates for the future of work now?
Think about the modules that they teach. I think I would like to see businesses get more involved. I would like to see business sponsorships for scholarships and things like that. Big business. I would like to see units that were integrated with business. I mean, I don't know how whether that's a big thing at the moment. But from when I was teaching at university, it wasn't there. I tried to organise more than internships. But yeah, it has to be practical. Has to be realistic. So you need to grab the person and involve them in what the subject is doing to make it practical. It has to be relevant. If it's not relevant, what's the point?
If I may add, it has to be a washback from the industry into the classroom. That kind of integration is highly required. So the industry should be leading what higher education should be teaching. Yeah, because if there's not that practical connect, then the students' knowledge will become redundant very quickly. Yeah, especially it's because it's so changing and disruptive. Yeah, so making adaptive learners who can, quickly learn on the job, but at the same time bringing the industry back into the classroom is where the connect should be. I mean, I feel to prepare the
So like
the
embedded
curriculum.
skills.
Absolutely, which is happening. It's happening, but I think we talk a lot about it. It's not happening at the level it should be. Yeah, and the industry should be more welcomed. And that's how higher education professionals should be leading their research as well, shaping it between that, the industry and the higher education connect. That's where our research should sit as well. So, unless we do that, how are we preparing them to work in offices or not offices, where work from home in 5 years' time? How is it going to happen? What jobs are getting outdated? What jobs won't exist anymore? Are we even going to have coders? We still have degrees that are teaching them to code.
Have you heard about China scrapping some of their
Yeah.
college degrees?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
almost, is
Thousands.
it almost 100? Yeah.
Which is, I read someone's comment that didn't even know that thousands of degrees existed and there are so many subjects. So, my question for your next guest was going to be that in all of this, how do we keep and retain the human at the center of it? So if we lose the humanities, if we lose creative writing, if we lose this kind of degrees, you're stripping the students from that ethical dimension I was talking about, that somebody who's able to think in multiple perspectives, somebody who's able to work and communicate effectively, if you're going to just retain those degrees that are going to help them in their job. So it's going to be across a lot of things and I think that's why people keep talking about micro credentials. But I think it was one of your guests that I was reading an article by him, and he said that micro credentials in practical terms, what does it mean really? Is it just surface level knowledge that they're going to skip and hop and just learn across the board? Yeah, where's that deep kind of learning and thinking that's going to happen? So I think we do still need degrees in humanities more than ever, that would be creating that whole student rather than just the tech skills. Yeah, I feel.
Much. And it was actually going to be my next questions in terms of what you would. Andy, is there any question you would like to ask our next guest?
Yeah, for sure. I've got an expression that says we have to be the roadmaps for our students, not the satellite navigation. And I think, we've got with the invisible friends like Google Maps and AI and Google, indeed, it's having a big effect on information retention. So I would ask, how can we ensure that the integration of AI into education actually strengthens students' critical thinking and human agency rather than gradually eroding them?
Wow. I think that's
It's a heavy question for the next person.
Yeah, good luck to the next person, isn't it? Because I think it's still a question that we're all trying to figure out, isn't it? It's a lot. Yeah.
I think again, being the roadmap rather than the sat nav.
Thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure having you on this episode today. Honestly, I really enjoyed the conversation. And to our guests, I hope you've enjoyed the conversation today. And if you have any feedback for us, please don't hesitate to drop us a line on www.d2dpodcast.com or on our social media platform at D2Disrupt. This episode is brought to you by Vidya AI. Thank you and cheers.